All right, it's the rundown. It's March 15th, the Ides of March. We got White Sox Dave and Donnie, and this is tournament time. And this episode brought to you by the Barstool Sportsbook, the best sports book there is. Barstool Sportsbook is made for stoolies. It's the only place to find exclusive picks and parlays from Big Cat, Dave, and the rest of the crew. They're all in Ohio today, so follow them on social media. And this March, you can kick off the action with a $100 sign-up bonus from the Barstool Sportsbook. Sign up today using promo code TOURNEY, then place a $10 bet or more cash wager on any basketball bet. Win or lose and receive $100 in bonus cash. So download and create your account today, and be sure to use the code TOURNEY to unlock your $100 in bonus cash. So this is tournament time. Dave and I are making plans for Friday night. Go Bobcats, Barstool Buskers. So even if you're not a college basketball guy, I feel like everybody gets into it right now. That's me at this point in my life. I only watched her in March, but I am so excited for tomorrow.
Even Donnie's excited for tomorrow.
He's nodding along.
Go UVM, baby. They don't play till Friday, but that's my team in Buskers.
Taylor Coppenrath, remember that name?
No.
We talked about him on the draft on Monday, and like I think he was like 2003, something like that. Where I was convinced that he was the next Larry Bird. That there's some alternate universe where Donnie does is run around China in a Taylor Coppenrath jersey.
Honestly, yes. There might be like knockoff Taylor Coppenrath jerseys out there. They're the Catamounts, right?
Yeah.
That, I don't know why, is just the coolest fucking name like you can have for college. So
it's a lot cooler to say than Nittany Lions. I think it's basically the same thing.
Do you know what a catamount is?
It's like a big mountain lion, isn't it?
I honestly couldn't even begin to tell you what a catamount is. I know the word's just sweet.
The logo looks like a mountain lion. I know that. So it could be something different, but that's always what I thought it was.
Well, we're fans of all sorts of cats this weekend, it sounds like. The Bobcats,
Catamounts. I would love to go to your wedding in Ireland, Donnie. So.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, other than the tournament, the biggest sports news of the week is potentially about to drop. We're recording this before the Pat McAfee show. Aaron Rodgers is going on the Pat McAfee show. All the rumors, the Jets, Aaron Rodgers is basically their GM saying, hey, sign my three best friends, and maybe I'll come there. Dave, as the Chicago guy who hates Aaron Rodgers, we'll go to you first on this subject. What do you make of this whole situation?
I just kind of love that he's holding the Packers hostage. And I loathe Aaron Rodgers. I respect him for who he is as a quarterback, obviously, and I've made that point very clear over the years, but it's making me kind of like him because of what he's doing to Green Bay. Now, if he goes to New York or LA or wherever,
feels like it's only the Jets at this point.
I know, but like I wouldn't hate him as much if he wasn't on the Packers. The Packers' hatred always reigns supreme for me, and the fact that one of their own, the guy that's like he's been unbelievable for him for almost 2 decades now, is like just fucking with them and trolling them. I love it. And I also know that if he breaks this news on his own, then you know that like Schefter and Rappaport, they're just like, they're doing everything in their power to break this news. But it's probably going to be him. He's a little puppet master right now. And I think it's kind of funny.
What about you, Donnie?
Yeah, I have nothing to add. I'm not going to make a prediction whether he stays or goes. I do have an interesting hypothetical. You know how he did the 4-day darkness retreat?
Mm-hmm.
I also have a friend who did a silent retreat that was like 5 to 10 days where you don't say a word. Would you rather do a darkness retreat and just be in pitch blackness for 4 days, or do a silent retreat and not be able to say a word for 4 days?
Huh. Well, I just did on Sunday. I did a sensory deprivation tank. And so that was an hour long, and I actually fell asleep in there. But like you put little earplugs in and you put your head in the water, and then it was so pitch black, like you hold your hand in front of your face and you can't see your hand. And the only thing that I could hear, like, and I don't even know if it's technically hearing, was my own heartbeat. And I was like, this is fucking weird. But I liked that. So I think I'm probably going darkness. I don't know if I could shut up for 5 days.
I couldn't. It would be a physical impossibility. You could offer every cent in any form of currency you wanted to me, and I wouldn't be able to not talk. So I think by default, I'd have to go with the darkness retreat. But
where are you on that, Donnie?
yeah, you've probably done weird shit like this abroad, right?
No, I prefer just doing drugs like a normal person. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like the silent retreat, you'd probably just start talking to yourself. Like it would be tough just not to say a word. Even if I'm like home alone for 2 days in a row, I'd probably say some words to myself and don't even realize it. It's just like you gotta release something.
Well, I feel like and I know I'm sure Dave does this too, but like the old Seinfeld where you just have like jerk store moments. Like I do that in the shower where it's like I think about a conversation I had earlier that day, and then I like read almost like I don't even realize I'm doing it, but I'm like talking out loud and be like, I should have fucking said that.
You get into like a sort of zone.
Yeah.
I used to freestyle rap in the showers.
Yeah. You want to give us a few bars?
Rapped in the Dominican. We'll see that in 2 weeks, I believe, that video.
Next week,
rap battle.
Dave both dropped some Spanish bars. I believe Dave's bar was you rhymed cabeza with
cerveza.
Cerveza, yeah. That was hard, bro.
Yeah, it was fucking. I was about to go to what is it called in 8 Mile? Not the Laugh Factory. It was like the whatever it was, but
certainly not the Laugh Factory.
I know that Aaron Rodgers probably will end up in Green Bay next year, just to spite all of us, though. So I guess we can move on from there to another NFL topic. So because NFL's hot in the news right now, free agency and the draft coming up and all that good stuff.
I like how you just commandeered the host role here. Too.
I thought we were dragging a little long, and I thought that was an appropriate transition.
Yeah,
so let's talk about
Aaron
Waller getting traded from Las Vegas just days after he married a Las Vegas Aces WNBA player.
Yeah, and so his wife has theorized that maybe it was because they didn't invite McDaniels to the wedding. Isn't that what she said?
Yeah, she quote tweeted that. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I don't know, like obviously she may have been joking, but it makes you think. I think actually Dave would be like, I'm getting married soon. Dave probably wouldn't be happy if I invited him to the wedding because he'd be like, this dude's clearly just pandering for a big wedding gift. He just wants money. So yeah, I don't know. Would you invite Dave to your wedding if you got married?
Yeah, I might have Dave stand up at this point. I've known the guy for 10 years. So
yeah.
You know.
I'm fun in those situations. You want me at your wedding.
No, I mean Dave Portnoy.
Oh, like, Dave. My bot?
Invite your boss. Yeah.
See, this is probably another one of those shower situations where I've thought of it, where it's like, I feel like it's proper etiquette in most situations to invite your boss to your wedding, but I know that Dave does not want to come.
Yeah.
But then I feel like he would still want the invite out of respect and then reject it. So it's like a Chinese figure trap situation. No matter which way you pull, you can't get out of it.
Yeah, it is a little cat and mouse game, but I mean, we're all avoiding saying at least what I would be thinking is you invite Dave Portnoy because he's the richest one of your friends, and you hope he tosses you, a couple million.
He won't come, but he'll send you a fat check. I just feel like,
but I don't want him there, and he doesn't want to be
like you're just pandering for money. Yeah, no, Dave, I'm not saying I was going to invite you because like I would be looking for a fat check.
Yeah, I was wondering. I'm like, I mean, you'd get the $150. If I brought a date, you get 300. That's where I'm at in my life.
Venmo though, he only does Venmo.
Venmo.
Do you know that, Donnie?
What?
Dave will not RSVP to your wedding in like the formal way. He will just send you a text saying I'm coming, and then he will Venmo you your gift, and that's it.
And every wedding I've ever been to, they always appreciate it because of how big of a pain in the ass the check cashing process is, the RSV. They're like, dude, thank you. They thank me for it.
But then they don't have to actually write you a thank you note, which they don't want to do that either.
Exactly. I don't want to because I just get it and I throw it in the cart or throw it in the trash.
Yeah.
You
want to transition us to the next topic?
Like Darren Waller actually had a pretty good season for the Raiders, right?
Yeah, he's a good player.
He's a stud. But I feel like the Raiders are trying to be bad. So yeah, they're trying to get Caleb Williams. I think they only got a 3rd-round pick for him, something like that. So I also feel like this story is much ado about nothing because the WNBA season, NFL season, I feel like they don't really cross over. So you spend your summers or whatever in Vegas, and then your fall in wherever where do you go? The Giants? Where do you go?
Summers in Vegas doesn't really sound very pleasant.
I've been to Vegas in August, and we were at a pool party, and if you would walk on the concrete, like you would have to walk on the sides of your feet because it would burn the bottoms of your feet. That's how fucking hot it was. It was like breathing car exhaust. So I do like heat though. And on the subject of heat and on the subject of Ireland, there are 18 female prison guards catching heat and getting fired for having illicit affairs with inmates in British prison. In a British prison. Donnie, you're the abroad expert. Would you like to go to this? It sounds like a resort to me.
Foreign affairs expert.
It sounds like a great prison. I was reading the blog, like one of the former inmates was quoted being like, yeah, it was way too cushy. They need to start treating that place like more of a prison. It's like, dude, relax. You were an inmate. Like, why are you demanding that they treat it more like a prison? But the whole thing with like prison guards having affairs with the prisoners, that's very common. You hear it in the news all the time. I knew someone who had to do a couple months in jail. He said, yeah, a lot of inmates were banging the guards. And I think the guards love it because it's the one job you have where if you're like a female guard, you can walk down those halls and just know that everyone in there wants to bang you, regardless of how you look. So it's a huge confidence booster. Just because you have so much control over these guys. They have zero options. But I was also kind of shocked. The woman in this article, not bad looking, especially for a prison guard.
I mean, but she's got to have a thing for the bad boy. She's made her whole life about it. So do you remember, what was it, like upstate New York? I don't know, it might have been 10 years ago.
Yeah, like there was a big prison break.
Yeah, it was organized by the woman who was banging the inmates, and then she just snuck them out of jail.
Yes. Now, a crazy thing, it said that the guards who were banging prisoners, now they're being sent to jail. I thought that was just grounds for being fired. I didn't think that was grounds like we're going to lock you up now, too.
It's illegal that sounds
to give a prisoner a blowjob? Come on.
Well, unless they say she was forcing them,
or
I think it may have
pro quo.
She was also helping them like smuggle in drugs and things like that. But yeah, that sounds like a very cushy prison. I recommend people listening to this read the book Bolivian Marching Powder. It's about a prison down in Bolivia that they essentially just built like a wall around a town. And then like in the prison actually like have to pay rent and you can get a job. And like some British dude was thrown in that prison for trying to traffic cocaine and then just became a cocaine dealer in the prison. Cause it pretty much just operates like a town. So yeah, they actually, that sounded kind of cushy too. But yeah, I guess it's the cushiest prison in the UK, and it's also their largest prison or something like that I saw.
That actually kind of makes sense to me too, because I feel like the days of like the Tommy Shelbys of the world are long gone in Britain. Everybody's just kind of like nice. Like they don't have guns there. They just, it's just like how hard a criminals could there possibly be in England?
Yeah.
I feel like British dudes are kind of tough assholes.
No, I know. I'm just joking. Like they have like the soccer hooligans and all that, but I feel like even that, they don't let you drink in the stadiums over there, like at all.
What?
Yeah,
I did know that.
yeah. That was
That's
you
fucking
can drink
insane.
it in the concourse, but not in the
Stands.
stands. Yeah.
That
I don't
shit.
know if we're allowed to throw this in here, but I saw a video of British soccer fans doing a line of cocaine off a bald dude's head who was standing in front of them at the game. They just like poured some out and snorted a line. Um, British dudes are wild. I think they 100% party harder than Americans.
Yeah, I've had a limited amount of time there, but I was not quite ready for that. I went there last May, and that was like the hardest part of the drinking over there is that you go so hard in the morning, then you go into the game, and like by the end of, or maybe like the start rather of the second half, like your hangover starts settling in because you've been drinking all morning, then you don't drink for like an hour because you can't really, you can drink beer in the concourse, but you can only get one. So then it was a tough situation. It was hot that day. It was rough. Next story. I love this headline. City of Newark, New Jersey, duped into becoming a sister city with a fake nation. So this was perpetuated by this guy who I guess is a notorious, what would you even call this?
Scam artist.
Scammer.
Artist. Yeah. So Donnie, what did you have on this situation as someone who deals with foreign countries all the time?
I mean, it's just wild. They never thought to Google it because if you're going to be a sister city with someone, you at least want to like be able to point it out on a map or whatever. And they just never thought to do that. It seemed like they never had to exchange any money or anything. So it's like, was this scam artist just trying to fuck with Newark because he's like, it'll be hilarious?
Well, I mean, it says the city of Newark held a ceremony at City Hall honoring the country of its Kailasa as a sister city. And they signed a cultural trade agreement. So that, like, if you're going to like put on a whole ceremony, this to me is like, it's almost mean to Newark because I don't think they got a lot of people lining up to be sister cities with Newark. So as soon as they got one, they're like, oh shit, like here we go. Finally, somebody recognizing us and wants to be just like us. And then it's like, oh, fuck, it was a scam. And maybe if you're the city of Newark, you got to have a little self-awareness, be like, no one wants to be your sister city.
I got a question. Why would you be a sister city with a country?
I don't really know. Well, that's true too. I also don't really understand why you would have a sister city. Like Chicago has sister cities, and I never understood what that meant.
Yeah, I mean,
I think Shanghai actually is a sister city of Chicago.
Shanghai?
I'm pretty sure because there was a sign by my...
Yep. You're right. Shanghai is. And apparently Newark has about like 10 other sister cities. Rio de Janeiro is a sister city. I mean, I don't fully understand the concept, but yeah, I mean, I guess like it took them like a full week to realize that it was fake. And it was pretty much just because that guy made a fake website about this country. So he probably had that link in the email and they were like, it looks legit, but you got to Google it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, hilarious. It makes me want to try to do that. Dave, we'll start with you on this one. Did you see the video of this guy?
Dude, I watched it before the rundown. This is borderline must watch. I don't want to say it's must watch because I know you can get in trouble if others don't deem it as much watch. I would put this almost as on the same level as the Bagel Boss midget. This guy fucking lost his mind, and it seemed like he was kind of justified to me because he was in that gate and he wouldn't be able to get to the gate and to the entrance of the runway without having a legitimate ticket, you know, because of TSA and all that. So I'm guessing he was kind of justified and needed to get home. But obviously the Freakout, you can't do that. And then I'm always the sucker for a taser video because it's always someone going fucking ballistic. And then it's just, they get tased and they just drop like a sack of potatoes. So it's got it all. I think it's a fucking hilarious video.
I mean, the guy only had 3 margaritas. That you should not be banned from getting on a plane for just 3 marks.
I think it should be a requirement.
I know. The one thing I noticed though, he's complaining. He's like, I spent $2,000 on this flight. Who pays $2,000 for a round trip domestic flight? I think that would be hard to find in the continental US. A flight for $2,000 round trip.
Yeah.
You never
Spring
know.
break time though. The flights are through the roof right now.
Yeah. I'm also confused how these a lot of drunk people aren't allowed on planes. There was one time I'm not proud of it at all, but I was pretty much blackout at the airport, was still allowed on the plane, woke up in Charlotte. And I was like, I mean, I guess, am I just a well-behaved drunk dude? But it seems you can be reeking of booze. It doesn't matter if you're slurring your words because you don't have to talk to anyone. You just walk on the plane, sit down, either order another drink or fall asleep. It feels like it's not super hard to just not be an asshole if you happen to be hammered at an airport.
Yeah, I can't say that I've ever been kicked off or barred from getting on a plane. And there are multiple substances usually running through my body when I'm in the airport. And I've never had that issue. And I am sometimes I'm a pre-takeoff fall asleep guy. It's just one of those things. It's something about the white noise and the humming on there. I just close my eyes and I'm zonked out. I will say the angriest I ever got was I was actually in Charlotte too. And I was delayed. And then I was sitting right there and they were like, hey, we're going to take off in 45 minutes. They said we're going to board in 45 minutes. So I was just sitting there and I had headphones in. And then I walk up, they're like, oh, we just finished boarding. You can't get on. And I'm like, I was sitting, you guys told me, you told me the wrong thing. And I was very close to not getting tased, but I raised my voice. That's about as good as I'll do.
Yeah. That's brutal if you're just there and still.
Then I had another 6-hour wait for the next flight.
I will say I do have a friend, one that Chief has met in person that it was, I think it was 2021. He did get dragged off a plane for falling asleep and pre-takeoff without his mask on. And when they told him to mask up, he just lost his mind and they dragged him off and arrested him.
That will do it.
He kind of disappeared from the group chat for and I guess we can go into the after show, but he kind of disappeared from the group chat for a couple of weeks, and it's because he was battling a couple of federal offenses.
Okay.
Then he got it all settled and everything. He had to pay a big fine, but so nothing of substance happened, but it's I still love to laugh at it because I can just envision him going fucking ballistic because the chin diaper was around his mouth and not his nose or something while he's passed out.
Yeah.
So
number one rule is just don't yell at cops because you're just going to make whatever situation you're in 100 times worse.
Even in the beginning of that video that he's he's yelling at the gate attendant and then the cops come up and he's you could see him. He's I'm sorry I'm yelled. And then by the 2 seconds later, he's just fucking laying into those people. Yeah.
If you're super nice to the cops, maybe they'll take your side and be listen, he's not that drunk. It was only 3 margs. You have to let him on. But he started to scream at the cops. And the next thing you know, he's tased.
I also believe him about the number of marks too. There's just something the way that he says them, because sometimes you see these videos and they're like, I've only had 1 drink tonight, officer. This guy was like, no, I had 3. And I'm like, sounds legit. Sounds like that was the right number. He's not trying to do himself any favors by skirting the numbers. So I don't know. I was fine with that guy.
It could have been 3 double margs though.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
All right, we'll just go to the after show. You see the clip of or the pictures of Robbie and McGregor?
Yeah, we'll have one of that. I'll have a bucket. Have you got 2 glasses?
You got 2 glasses.
Go on, yes. Have a bucket of Fort Stout.
Absolutely. Hey, when in Vegas. When in Vegas.
When in Mom's basement.
When in Mom's basement.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Good for Bob. I kind of always assumed that he had already interviewed him.
I did too.
Because
I remember they had a press conference where McGregor was like, "Oh, there's my man Bob Fox in the front row," and so I just assumed that they had one. But it's crazy that this is the first time they they got it done. Donnie, do you have a guy like that, like some like white whale that you want to do content with?
I mean, I got to meet Pacquiao once. I got to do an interview with Jimmer Fredette, the Mormon Megalodon.
Yeah.
But who's my white whale now? I got to hang out with Manny Ramirez in Japan. I don't have like one athlete that I like need to do something with at the moment. But I mean, there's a lot out there that I would love to do something with.
You already got that white whale last month in the Dominican Republic with me.
Oh yes, exactly. I was talking to Robbie Fox, and I guess during the interview or before the interview, Conor McGregor served him whiskey and a beer, and he said he like was on the verge of puking because like he had zero food that day, and his whole body got hot and started to sweat, and he was like, "Fuck, I'm gonna puke in my first like sit down."
I mean, that would have gone super viral. It's probably worth like 1 million followers right there.
I know. Yeah, it'd be like Stan Marsh. He always pukes in front of his girlfriend.
Wendy. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
But yeah, be on the lookout for 2 more Dominican vids with me and Dave. I think they'll be dropping 7 p.m. the next 2 Mondays.
So avoid March Madness conflicts. But I think the last 2 people will really like.
Yeah.
I watched
the great
of the last one,
yeah,
and it is like my brain just shuts off at this point.
There's a very hilarious clip of Dave bartering for Viagra in the next vid.
1,500. 1,500. Everybody. Half for 750. How much for you? Half of this for 650 and 50. 750. Sí. That makes sense. Okay. For half. Okay.
And then in the last vid, we're just in the Dominican hood smoking blunts in a trap house. So yeah,
you
be on the
know,
lookout for those.
I feel like now that the patent on Viagra has expired, like you can get it from all sorts of different places. The old Dave that I used to know used to love buying street Canadian Viagra. And
I didn't buy it. It was handed to me. A lot of it was.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Chicago just has people like on the streets.
I think he had one specific connection.
It was a buddy for some reason had it and brought it to a White Sox game. This was a long fucking time ago.
It's probably like 2015 or 16, something like that.
I'd say like 2017, 18, probably 2018.
Okay.
But I'm like, what the fuck do you want? Why are you giving this to me, you fucking weirdo? And he's like, just trust me, but make sure if you ever use it, cut the pill in half and only take half of it. So randomly enough, that night was one of the like 1 or 2 times a year I get lucky, so to speak. That shit works. I'll leave it at that. No one wants that visual coursing through their mind. But yeah, but the funny thing about that was, so this guy's trying to sell me Viagra down there, and I'm like, I don't want 8 pills, I want 4 or something. So I'm like trying to barter in my broken ass Spanish. The next morning, I'm at a pharmacy to get like medicine because I was just sick as fuck from that point forward. Because I only had like 1 day of being healthy down there, and it was when he sold it to me. But I see him buying it for like a fraction of the cost from the pharmacy that he sold it to me for. So I got ripped off in the end for the Dominican Viagra. I'm north and south of the border with my Viagra intake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, boys. Well, go Bobcats and go Catamounts, and we'll just see you in Ireland. So for bracket busters. So best time of the year. Let's go. Montana State. Let's go, baby.
Cilantro.
Yeah, let's go Bobcats. Let's go Catamounts.